Anywho, how is everyone doing? It is that time of the week again. It is time for Geek Speak. Of course, this one's going to be a bit more casual. This is the end of the year. Everyone's, if you're where we are in the lower mainland Vancouver Island, you're probably snowed in. Yeah, so today, unfortunately, Pip is out with the flu, so you're just stuck with the three of us today. And of course, I'm going to introduce myself as my name's Phelan. I work at Seymour Digital Media. We're focused on search engine marketing.
And I am Rena from Little Works Indie Media, and we have a little agency over here.
Nice.
And I'm Greg with Original 72 Creative, and we're a full service website graphic design digital marketing firm, also in Vancouver.
Yeah. So, how's everyone enjoying the snow?
I don't mind
I
it.
actually love it. I love it. I think but I mean, I don't have to deal with it. I'm not the
Yeah.
one shoveling. So I love it. It's pretty, and I love the quality of sound that snow makes, especially at night. It's very soothing, and I had forgotten what that sound was like. So,
It looks beautiful. I mean, I drove around a little bit yesterday to go do a couple things, and it's like gorgeous out if you like look at the trees and nature and stuff. If you look ahead of you and on the sides of the roads, there's like chaos, but
Yeah. Which I'm going to say, we suggest that you do pay attention forwards. That.
I suppose.
Yeah. I just, have to say it, legally. Legally, we were advising you to look forward. Uh, Yeah, it's. I mean, over here, the biggest issue, like, it is beautiful. It looks great. The issue is, of course, drivers here lose their minds as soon as there's white stuff on the ground, and they just. I don't know what it is, but like people are like lemmings. They immediately like, I need to crash into a tree like right now. Uh,
I think it's because they feel like they need to make a concerted effort to get to work before they call in and say they can't go. So they go with their all seasons tires and they try and like go down that massive hill that's on the way to the freeway, and then the next thing they know they're whoo, boom.
yeah,
But yeah, if you make an effort, then you can, stay home.
it's like you're
I don't
sending a
know what
picture to your
that,
boss, like, "Hey,
I
boss, I
know.
tried. I crashed the truck real good."
I
Yeah.
know. I can't believe that it's not okay to just say, "Hey, I've only got all season tires. Oops. I don't think it's good for me to attempt to come in." Or, get out there and get on the bus, even though the buses were having problems too. It just makes sense to phone in and not go if you can, if you can. But there
Oh
are
yeah,
lots of people that actually have to be at work. I was listening to some people that are doing like home care and
yeah.
and things like that. We need to get those people to work for sure.
Oh yeah. No, I'm very much in the like. There's a certain segment of people, as we've learned with everything that's happened in the last couple of years, that there's a certain segment of people that just need to physically be at their job, and
Yeah.
I want them to be safe and healthy, and I would also prefer that the city actually like plows the roads. That would
Yeah.
also be
We could,
beneficial. Uh,
we could use a little bit more budget in that department for sure.
yeah, exactly. I mean, my folks are saying that most of Victoria still hasn't been plowed. Like, and
Okay,
I'm
so
not.
how
And
do
I'm talking
you
major streets, like main
yeah,
roads there.
yeah, they're complaining about that around here too. So how can you tell a Canadian from an American? Canadians are always talking about the weather.
Yeah,
But
pretty much.
Do
Yeah.
Americans not talk
That's
about the
true.
weather?
Not like this.
Not
I
as
don't think
much.
so.
They
Really?
just
Yeah,
like
this is
most of
what we're known
the.
for.
I'd say like the place that has like the most like insane weather is probably like Indiana because like they have every extreme. So they get tornadoes in the fall, they get blizzards in the winter, they get flooding in the spring, and then it's scorching hot. And it's like I heard someone from there describe it as like it's the place that if you went there, you think that God forgotten you. It's just because like the
Oh
weather's just
no, that's so sad.
well, it's just like it's just hell for weather. Like every extreme you're getting there, and they just solemnly like just take it and just so yeah.
Wow. Well, let's see if we can segue this back into our topic. How's that?
Yeah,
We're not just
So
talking about
we're here to
nothing
talk.
today?
yeah,
Pardon?
We're not just talking about nothing today?
No, because that would be boring to watch.
Hmm.
Um, Okay, so I think that what we wanted to do is kind of talk about the things that stood out for us in 2022 and perhaps make some guesses as to what might be happening in 2023. So, what were the highlights for you guys in 2022?
I had to do a deep dive into Performance Max and e-commerce for Google Ads, so that was a new thing that I didn't think I'd have to learn in 1 month, but I did. So that was
Right on. Yeah.
that stuck out quite a bit because it was quite a I had a lot of like we had a lot of stuff going on here at the house as well as having to learn all that stuff, so it was a little stressful. So
Yeah.
that stuck out for me.
For me on the website, I think like looking back, because over the course of the year, maybe year and a half now, it seems like it's been quite gradual, but when you look back, the advancement in being able to edit your site with the Gutenberg and block builders, there's been actually a ton of advancements in how flexible it is to compete with the page builders like Divi Builder, Elementor, Beaver Builder, stuff like that. I find in the past year to year and a half, it's taken a major jump to where you can seriously not build sites with Elementor and those things, and pretty much have whatever you need to do your custom layouts for sites.
Yeah,
Right.
I was
That is
gonna
pretty
say
big, actually.
I was just going to say, building off that as well, was also Shopify pretty much allows all page similar thing of like a page builder, but now it's on every page, and then you can save them as templates as well. So that was a big one for us, where it's like it almost opens up too many possibilities that you're
Mm-hmm.
just like of things you can do on pages, and it's every single page. So it's definitely yeah, a lot of the builders have gotten a lot better. I'm kind of curious. I should go look at. If there was like an improvement in the drag and drop library, right? Because there's a library that, since both of them use React to do a lot of their front end JavaScript, I'm just wondering if
What do you
there was
mean
like,
both? Sorry, what's both of them? Do you mean
oh,
Shopify and?
The
WordPress and
Shopify block builder and
Oh,
the
okay,
yeah,
okay,
Divi
got it.
Shopify
builder.
and WordPress on their back
Yeah.
end both use React, the JavaScript
Okay.
library, as their back end. In fact, fun anecdotal story is because Facebook created React, the
Oh, I didn't
WordPress.
know that.
Yeah, it's owned by all the major ones. There's only one independent, which is called Vue, VUE. That one's completely independent, and other everyone else is just it's built by a major organization. Um,
Right.
and so React, they had this like weird thing, and because it was Facebook, and so they had a weird thing in their terms of service that they like would own whatever you built with it. And Matt Molyneux, the guy that runs WordPress, said like, "Oh, I guess we're gonna have to move off of it," and instantly had Facebook change their terms of service to make it compliant with them because they're just like, "Yeah, we're not losing out this one." Like, okay, what do you need? What do you need? And they like just changed it to make it like open, whatever the most open one that they could have. They changed it
Yeah.
to that, like some Creative Commons, and so yeah, it was that was showed the power of WordPress that they could literally make the behemoth Facebook bend the knee by just saying like, I think we'll move away from this. Um,
At least somebody can.
yeah, yeah. I mean, well, at the end of the day, I think that's one of the other fun ones. It's just things that we've learned is like there is someone that can make a bunch of these giant companies like just someone can off in the corner can cough and they go, okay, actually, we're going to change our plans. We're going to do what they said. um,
Right on.
so, what about for you, Rena?
Yeah, well, haven't been like that many big changes, but I think the thing that that I has just like taken on my complete and utter fascination is the whole um, the shifts in Twitter. So they had tried to launch a bunch of new features, and those features didn't really gain any traction. And then when Elon took over, like it's just been absolutely miss, 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 and more miss. And now so many of the great people that I was on there to follow have moved off of Twitter or have had their accounts closed. Um, that I'm kind of wondering, am I there to the bitter end? When do I move off? And where am I going? Because that seems to be also, there's not one sort of congruent movement to a particular place. Everybody's taking up a variety of spaces. So they're going to Substack, and so it looks like Substack, and that what's the other one called with the M? What's it called? I
Mastodon.
forgot. Mastodon. And then the other one, a lot of people are going back to Tumblr for some reason. I don't know how Tumblr
I went
is a
back to
good.
Tumblr actually.
Did you?
Yeah,
Actually,
that's
I didn't.
one.
I don't know if I went back or just am on, like, because I know about Tumblr. I feel like I was probably on there, but then like I signed up again, so I might have a second Tumblr out there.
Right.
Yeah,
So, but it doesn't function at all like Twitter did. So this is what I'm trying to get at. Like, how do we get our immediately released news? Uh-oh, what happened?
that was me accidentally hitting a key on
Oh,
my
okay, good.
keyboard.
You're
Very
still there.
sorry.
I'm like, I'm
So,
like,
Everybody just wanted to see me by myself.
yeah, that was exactly it. There was I was trying to click on something and I accidentally hit the number 2, and so it just went to just
oh,
Greg.
so someone's saying that the journalists are going to post. That's good. That's probably where I want to be then, because what I look for in Twitter is that at the moment when things are on the ground, absolutely happening right then and there, not something that's going to show up in my feed 2 days later or 5 days later or whatever due to the algorithm.
Yeah,
And I like to hear it before it gets to the news. So, okay, so that's good. Yeah, so I don't know who that is, but
it's
they
Glenna.
don't love. Oh, it's Glenna. Hi,
Yeah,
Glenna.
it's all
So
her.
it doesn't. It just shows up as Facebook user for me.
Yeah, because
So,
of it's in the Facebook group. I had the tab open on the other screen, so I just quickly checked who it was. Uh,
oh right. Oh, I wonder if we did our primary um, cast to a public location, if it would work out better.
it does.
Okay.
Yeah, and it's just
Okay.
it's be in a private group, and so part of the
Yeah.
API just it doesn't show this
Right.
because it's a private
Yeah.
group.
Got it.
Yeah,
Okay. Okay. I see. I see. Okay. So, anyways, yeah. So, yeah, I don't like Mastodon either. I haven't even really figured out how it works yet. I looked at it once. It just like I glossed over, and I'm gonna go over that when I'm on holidays and figure that one out. But Post is a good place. I haven't actually used that one. I'm gonna mark that down right now so that I don't forget. So has anyone else moved anywhere else off of Twitter? Because that makes me Post. I don't even know what Post is, and I can't seem to get. Glenna, can you tell me? Can you drop a link in
yeah,
the chat and see what you're talking about? Because I can't really search for that.
yeah. That's a pretty generalizable name. That would make it definitely the SEO
I
on that. It's
know.
going to be pretty tough.
I know. I'm like, what am I thinking? I can't Google that. It's not going to come up with anything.
Yeah.
Okay. So that's good because I do like the journalists. That's what the journalists and politicians. Those are the two groups of people that I keep in touch with, if you can call it that, on Twitter. I keep up to date with. That's probably more
Yeah.
accurate.
Yeah. It's definitely. Though apparently Elon is actually stepping down as the CEO. It got announced today.
He is?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Are you
it was
serious?
announced this morning. There's
Yeah.
a new
Oh my
girl
gosh.
who's.
Well,
I don't know.
that one. It's not clear that it's not a joke, because there was a lady who said that she's now the new CEO, but like people looked in and she's a comedy writer, so there's like a strong
Oh,
chance that was a bit. And the
okay.
problem is,
Here's the thing. He did say that he was going to run all the decisions by poll, and then he doesn't poll. He only polls for 24 hours, so not very many people can even respond. And then the last poll that he did was whether or not he should step down, and that was a resounding 54% or something like that.
oh,
And
it was 60. It was like well over a
is it?
majority.
Oh, was
Like
it?
yeah,
Okay, I thought it.
it was
Okay, that's good.
firmly in the camp
So I
of
I find that so strange because all of the people that were doing the polls previously to, reinstate people's accounts when they were banned for doing things against terms of services, they were all allowed back. So the same people that voted to get those people back were voting for him to step down. That doesn't make any sense. I can't quite follow the politics in that.
it's hard to say exactly. People could
Yeah.
also just be, there's a certain amount of like I think that he just kind of was too erratic because even people that were supporting him were still like in their own YouTube channels and stuff. They were not supporting him because he's being too inconclusive, and also that he went on banning all those journalists, and a bunch of people didn't like that were supporting him because they actually were free speech absolutists. So
Have they
it's
rolled back that decision to not allow promotion on other social
No,
platforms?
that has not been.
Is
I
that
don't think that's
still in
been rolled
place?
back.
well, it was specifically Mastodon. If you posted anything from Mastodon, you would get banned.
Oh,
Uh,
really?
Yeah, it was because that's where the journalists went over and were kept posting about what was going on, and then they would link to their account, and so Elon banned the official Mastodon account, and then banned anyone who would post a link for Mastodon. So yeah, it
Okay,
was
because that's not in the terms of service. That was all of them. The interesting thing is here, 57.5% people voted for him to step down,
Hmm.
and it was 17 and a half million votes, which I think is pretty interesting. But then I love how he actually claims that the bot traffic is there. Do you know what I'm saying? So when they vote against him, it's bot traffic, and when it's about reinstating people's accounts, it's like genuine user response.
Of course, yeah.
well, yeah, you make it whatever you need to at the time, and
I
then
know.
yeah, it's one of those like, well, it was very good that this all happened for me, and isn't that wonderful? And no, I wasn't owned by when that happened the last time. So, uh, well, the interesting part, again, going back to our earlier point of like, there probably was a gentleman in the corner that gave him all the money that was like coughed softly and said, "I think you're going to be stepping down now," because,
Really?
well, yeah, I
So
mean.
the board still runs the
It's not. I don't even say the board. I would say the people that loaned him the money. Like
right,
Saudi
right.
Arabia, who definitely has never had someone disassembled in their embassy. I'm sure they're not.
But the thing is that they're oh, I see.
Qu'est-ce qu'est-ce que c'est?
I'm looking at the stock prices, and it looks like it's going up
For
17
which
hours
one?
ago for
Tesla.
Twitter.
Oh, Tesla's the
Twitter.
one that matters because like that's entirely his wealth is
Right.
dependent on
Yeah,
that.
right, of
So
course.
Tesla stock because it was like an overinflated, uh, it made it the most valuable car
Yes.
company of all time that like recalls vast quantities of its cars. So it was probably not like destined for
Yeah.
greatness.
It
But
seems to
yeah,
be on a little slow upswing here too. Maybe
yeah,
that's since let's take a look to see when that happened compared to when he said he was stepping down.
yeah,
Interesting. Okay, well, this is all really fun. So this is what's held my attention for the last little while,
yeah.
which I'm not sure is super interesting to anyone else. So, for those of you who are watching, why don't you drop in in the comments what you guys have been fascinated with in terms of marketing this year, and oh, and then the other thing is that so brands, a lot of the brands that are on there seem to be just tweeting away as usual. Um, and then, but has anyone stopped? I have stopped a couple of my accounts from tweeting on Twitter, but for the most part, I have a software client, and we still use Twitter because Twitter's still a really good space for them.
I could see it. I mean, we none of our clients are, but they're not really
Yeah.
really that it's we're just so Google focused and just
Yeah.
and then we're also ours is just integrating doing like YouTube shorts and like TikToks and like any of the
Right.
60
Right.
second
Right.
videos and then posting the full length video on YouTube. Like that's kind of been
Right.
what we've been
Yeah.
focusing on because all the other ones are so fickle that as like a social media platform that it's just not something where we're putting our efforts.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, so I mean, for my account, I've mostly used in the last while, though, not just this year, but over the last few years, I've mostly used if this then that, and sent all of my Instagram tweets to Twitter.
Yeah. It's it definitely. I think the other one that's I'm very interested to see how it's going to shake out is because this is the first year since 2008 that they've raised interest rates, and no one know because I think a lot of us kind of forget that like Facebook was born out of 2008. They were all the social media platforms were all born out of like a zero interest rate world, and because they could borrow infinitely to pay any debts when they don't make their money. So it'll be interesting to see which social media platforms actually can keep their value, able to grow in this time where things are getting more like hard. It's hard to say, right? The only company that's like or platform that I think is going to be fine is like Amazon, but that's because Amazon doesn't make money on Amazon. Amazon makes all of its money from AWS, and I don't think that's going to stop anytime soon. So it'll be interesting to see how the whole social media ecosystem is going to shift and change because it was built on people buying big companies buying huge ad spaces on all their platforms. But if they're too erratic, it's going to cost too much, they're borrowing too much. Like I think that's all going to make things interesting.
Totally.
Sorry,
totally, that is true.
I didn't mean to get all like meta narrative. It's just been something I've been learning a lot about.
No,
recently.
that's absolutely true. I mean, I actually find it quite funny that when people go on about how the interest rates are so high, and I don't know, I remember in the 80s, I mean, I had my first bank account in the 80s.
That's a little different. Where they were, that was a very different time.
No, I understand, but it's like it doesn't mean that it's going to go away, right? So we have to figure out what does that look like in life now, and how what are the changes in consumer and investor behaviors that are going to come about, because you're right, people have been borrowing like crazy, and it's been a whole thing to borrow and invest that money and to leverage your home to the maximum to maintain a particular lifestyle. So it's really going to shift.
Yeah, well, and also businesses as well, right? Like a lot of the major businesses are kind of kept afloat by the fact that they take in just enough money to service debt so that they can borrow more money to service that. Like,
right.
And then it's just kind of like if there's a slight tweak in that system, then who knows how it's all going to shake out. And I just don't think that. I think it's very interesting, but I don't have like an answer like, oh, obviously it's going to be this.
No, I'm not an economist either. It's just going to be, I think everybody is being a little bit more cautious at the moment, I think.
Well, I think even any economist who's also very full of themselves is like, they're lying to you. It's, no one knows. Like those, because those guys also, most of the economists are kind of like, well, obviously we're going to raise interest rates and that'll crash the economy so that we can deal with inflation. And inflation went down and the economy is doing better than it's ever done, like on pure numbers. Like the U.S. economy grew 2.5% in the last quarter when it was predicted to go minus. So, like, anyone who says that they know what's going on is lying to you. Because we are in wacky cuckoo times. And it's different times.
We're quickly running up on our half hour. Are we going longer, or should we talk about the year upcoming at all?
Yeah, actually, I do have some something I wanted to mention for the year upcoming that wasn't just like weird meta narrative stuff, which is the continuation of the GPT systems and the AI content creation. It's definitely one. I think. It'll be interesting to see how the race between Google and the Chat GPT. Have you guys played with it yet?
Mm-hmm. No.
It's fun to try and word the prompts in a specific way, like to try and get a result. Like I had it rewrite the story of Gilgamesh and put it in like modern times, and it rewrote the story so it was about a CEO taking over a business, and then so there's like. Just trying to get it to do weird things has been kind of fun. A lot of copy is pretty easy for it to get you started.
Yeah.
it seems it doesn't do random things. Like you can't just ask it to pick one or another. Like it won't pick. It won't. It doesn't randomly generate numbers, and I could see why, because like people might start using it to like for sports betting, like, or for like picking stocks possibly, or things like that.
Yeah.
um, it's not going to make decisions for you basically, but
Yeah.
you can ask it to do things for you, like write you things like you were talking about, or stuff like that. So, and I don't know how far it's going to go. I know that I've heard things like 3.5 is really good. That's what we're at, but the next version is going to be like, you know, far superior in its capabilities to what it has now. So it'll be interesting to see where it goes.
Yeah, I think that it's never. I don't think it's going to like fully replace things. I think it's just going to be like you have a blank page and you need something on there to get you started. I think that that's always going to be where it's going to stay because so funny story about the Chat GPT 3 is, or the Chat GPT is that it is you were banned from using it on Stack Overflow. So it does write code, but the code doesn't work because it doesn't know, like you were saying, it doesn't know how to actually pick something. It's a predictive model based on a bunch of stuff, and it looks right, but if you actually go and actually work with it, like computers are, the code is deterministic, where this is probabilistic. So it's like code is like you give it a set of instructions, it will do those instructions, whereas the GPT models are like we guess based on how everyone else has done this that this is kind of how it works, and it's a predictive model.
Hmm. And the image AI stuff, I've played around with that a little bit as well, and it's pretty cool. I don't think it's going to be replacing any designers anytime soon, but you could use it in a specific way to generate you just something abstract or interesting that is unique.
Well,
Um,
I don't know how you. Okay, so there's actually an AI right now that someone shared with me in a Slack chat that that designs entire websites. So I feel like there might be not replacement for designers, but another DIY option rather
Yeah,
than just templates.
yeah, I think that yeah, I would agree with you that it's like it's going to be like a starter template or something like that. The thing that the issue with it, of course, is that Google is like hyper aware of these systems and has like built like ways to downgrade. Like if you
Oh,
did
you
it,
think they'll do that?
they already have with the
Why?
GPT.
What are based on what premise? Why would they do that? Why would they choose to do that?
Oh, because it's not original content, right? So it's not,
I see.
and
But are
so
templates original content? Like honestly, at what point
well
does
that's
originality happen?
well that's
This is
the
this is the more interesting conversation to me. Not what can be done, but who owns what and where is the intellectual property lie? Like because the AI developer owns all the property, doesn't it? Like how does it
no.
not?
So the court case actually did just come down for that AI generated
Oh,
comic book.
okay,
So
cool. How
someone
did that
did
go?
take it and use these systems to create an entirely AI generated comic book, and the courts have
Right.
ruled. The court ruled that they were not allowed to put a copyright on it. Uh,
Oh, because
so
it's sourced out from everything else.
yeah, it's
So
just
then what is it? Creative Commons? Like is
yeah.
that
I
where's it
think
gonna
it's
land?
yeah. I think it was Creative Commons is where they landed. I didn't
Oh,
get that
so we're
far.
not going to be, but okay, but here's the thing. Can you not just take somebody's, can you not just create a book? Like I've heard of lots of people writing books with AI already, or stories at
Yeah.
least. So if you created a book of short stories, for example, and then you created a print on demand on Amazon and sold that, and it was obviously done by AI, and I somehow knew that, could I not just go and download that book and then put it up and resell it myself because it's part of the Creative Commons?
I let me preface this with I'm not a lawyer. I do not. I'm not that good at copyright law. Like,
I know.
but to me, what it would mean is that yeah, you'd be able to just take what they did, put it up there,
Yeah.
and then you'd be selling it, and then they couldn't take it down because there's no way to enforce a DMCA.
Okay,
Like,
and what percentage of differences to original artwork need to be organized by this AI for it not to be part of the first copyright holder? So, for example, if a gallery owns the Van Gogh Scream or whatever, and they own the rights to that, and every time it's published on a card or a calendar, they get money for that. So, how much does that Scream have to actually change? Because in current law it's 80%, so I have to make well, actually I don't know, I don't know that for a fact, but and I know that it's arbitrary in some ways because it depends on how you're changing it and how recognizable it originally is, even if it is 80%, but you have to make significant changes for it to be considered a new work. So have they legislated that kind of, like, how much change from the original art can the AI does the AI need to put into that piece before it's
I
copyrighted?
believe that is part of the fun things that are coming up for the next year. Yeah,
Right
because
on.
I don't think that I personally I don't. I think that that's just an open question, and those goalposts are going to
Yeah,
keep moving and keep shifting, and people are going to be. Uh, I just I don't know what's going to happen with it. Like a materialist reading is going to be like whoever owns the ability to make money off of that part is probably going to be
yeah,
pushing for those laws to
yeah,
favor them, right? So whoever's like making the
yeah.
money now, they've got the money to then get the lawyers to go like, no, I want it to be this way,
So,
and
just out of curiosity, do we have a link for that comic book that is
oh,
done by AI so I can just rip it off and put it on Amazon today?
I will have to find it and put it in the chat. I just found it in my when I was googling.
My
Uh,
question about this would be like if you use AI to generate some copy or a story for you or images as well and you put it out there, if you didn't tell anybody it was created by AI, would anybody know or how
Oh,
would
but they
anybody
will.
come after
Yeah,
you?
so
because oh yeah, they don't they
apparently
have.
Google has an algorithm that they've created because there was like a big thing that people had created full affiliate marketing websites, and they just ran it as an experiment. Could I make an affiliate marketing website strictly with AI? And what would happen to Google? And in their one of their last updates, they had released an algorithm that detects, basically it reverse engineers how a GPT algorithm works. So
Huh,
it undoes a predictive model, and
they
it can detect, and apparently like it was very good because like sites are just that are like showing their Google Analytics, and it was like traffic just like craters in
yeah,
this update. So apparently there's a
yeah.
way to do
I
it.
I find it interesting. I think that definitely software could probably do that, no problem. And if you say that it exists, then that's great. But there was one guy on, I forgot, on TikTok, I think, that I was watching, and he was discussing it as if, as a professor, he would know if his students had used AI to write a paper because he's already identified plagiarism in the past. And it's different than plagiarism. I think the guy's misunderstanding what AI does, because it's not plagiarism. It's not the
No,
same,
no,
right?
it
And so, and I just thought, oh, that's an interesting take, to think that you're actually going to be able to identify the
yeah.
AI written stuff. Like, I don't think it's going to be that easy, Mr. Professor. Do you
I,
know?
I think that it's more going to be like there's like a certain uncanny valley feel to a couple of things when
Yeah,
it does right, that it's just like
yeah,
there's like it gets 90% of it there, but that last 10% just is like, wait, it
yeah.
doesn't make sense to
But
put
it's
that
just
word there.
like, I see how it works better. You can kind of look at images that are AI, and you can see that there's qualities about those images that
Mm.
is different, right?
They have a
Um,
style to them, yeah.
yeah, yeah, and there's some places where they fail even a little bit. Like, I've heard hands are hard for all sorts of new artists too, quite frankly. But but they say in the hands, and it's just they sort of fall apart a little bit at different places, and that's fine. But in writing, I want to see, like, I maybe it's just because I'm not really like, I haven't dedicated my life to reading books the same way that authors or literature instruct teachers have, I would imagine. Maybe they could actually feel that sort of uncanniness that I look at when I look at AI, and I can see, oh, little off. It's a little weird. It's a little strange. But there are entire art genres that are intended to be a little off, a little weird, a little strange. Like they're not intended to be, realistic. So, um, like I can actually think of some really good pieces of artwork that stand alone and have for centuries, and they're not realistic. They're weird.
Yeah,
Mm.
but I think that there's a couple of factors when it comes to the writing that like you've got to separate out like marketing copy from
Yeah,
like literature or
yeah,
some piece of nonfiction versus a piece of fiction. I think
right,
that the models do better with nonfiction and marketing copy because it
right,
is fairly
right.
standardized, like how you're trying to
Yeah,
convince someone of something.
yeah,
There's and I think that that part is going to have some tells in the way that it puts words together. That's what I suspect that Google is going to catch.
right.
Any sort of fiction, it's more, or any sort of like prose where you're trying to like come up with a
Yeah,
story. That those ones they're okay, but that's where the uncanny valley really happens. Is any sort of like prose where they're telling a story because they'll have like and then they went to the bowling alley. Like they'll have like some weird like thing that just like it's so incongruous, and it's because it's predictive, like that it's just sort of
yeah.
trying to assume these things. um, it's definitely it's going to be a weird world. It's definitely so. One other thing that's come out of that is there's now a new type of job, which is like a prompt writer. So that like it's literally a guy's job, like on Fiverr, to write, to know how to prompt these systems to generate what you
Oh,
need
I
it
think
to
that's
do.
so fun. I want that job. I'm gonna
Uh,
put myself up on Fiverr for that.
yeah, yeah. There's one like one of the podcasts I listened to. They did like a whole intro. I'll send you a link to it, Rena. Them doing the intro, and it was entirely written by Chat GPT. And then he's like, I don't want to like because it was a little like they were critical of it, and so they were just like, yeah, I don't want to really tell you guys how to like write an episode, an intro to this podcast using Chat GPT because like that isn't going to be fun
That's
for you.
funny. That's
Uh,
funny.
yeah. Um,
Yeah,
yeah, it's definitely. I think. Yeah, I think the AI content creation is going to be the big thing next year.
absolutely. I think that's gonna be super interesting. And then
Yeah,
still way more experiential marketing. I think that's, on our Google, whatever those are called. I don't have one. What's it
the
called? The
home.
little speaker things. Yeah, Google Home and all of that. We'll be making lists and doing shopping from there. Things like
Yeah,
that.
I expect that. The other thing is like the Google local SEO. There's made some huge jumps in like how you can leave reviews. Like I just saw yesterday that you can leave a review for a restaurant and then leave it for subcategories of like food quality, service, experience there. So I think that, and then they're also doing the posts and like you can see things that are happening nearby you. So I think that Google's going to be expanding that out a little bit more. Uh, so that should be interesting for people. Um, it'll be. I think it's also going to be interesting to see what's going to happen with Meta because they are losing a lot of money. They're going to be around for a while, but like they've taken a big hit in the last year, and it'll be interesting to see where they're going to land out of all this.
Yeah, I want to know when they're going to be launching their metaverse stuff. Like, I really want to see more of that.
They have
Oh, but how do you get in it then?
exactly.
They haven't rolled it out to us. Is that what you mean?
No, no, it's just it's been underused. It was a big boom that just didn't work. Like the technical component for like configuring it just wasn't up to snuff. It was a lot of marketing that didn't have a lot of technical stuff to back it up. Um,
Right.
so
No, I
uh,
remember the marketing and all of that, but where is it? Where did we go?
it's all decentralized, right? Like it's all you have your own little world, and then it has its own cryptocurrency that uses to fuel it, and then um, and it also got tied in with the NFT market, and so it was kind of um, also. I hope you don't like having legs. They haven't been able to figure out legs.
I definitely like the likes, honestly. Positive reinforcement goes a long
Yeah,
way for me.
yeah. So it's yeah. There's been. I mean, there's just been a lot of issues with it getting set up. I keep fairly close tabs on all that stuff. Uh, um, oh, there was something I was going to say. Now it's just absolutely. The other one that is interesting with the marketing a little bit is that Netflix has reoriented itself to basically be TV. And
Yeah,
it's
I
like,
know. I'm so disappointed. It's like I canceled my account.
well, that's again going back to the zero interest rate world. They were entirely dependent on borrowing vast sums of money, which
I
is
know. The
why,
VC,
yeah,
I
they
think
were a
there's,
junk stock. They've never not
yeah,
been a junk stock. Uh,
I think a lot of VC backed companies operate like that. They just live so much on the money that's coming in and not on the money that's generated through revenue of the thing that's actually being sold. So yeah, and I mean that's the too bad part of it is that they organized it to be cheaper than TV. They disrupted the television service, and then they turned it into TV. It's like, oh, that was really innovative,
yeah,
totally innovative.
oh, it's the same. You know, between it and Uber. Uber also has an ads platform now because now they
Yeah,
have a little screen in the back of the car that makes it look exactly like a taxi, except it's just some
yeah,
random guy's car. And it's the same story. Is that there were fundamental economic things that made these models this way. They thought that
yeah,
with infinite free money they could
yeah.
change that, and it turned out that they couldn't. There was a reason why things were the way they were.
No, because the model
Well, the
is
model depended on free money, like infinite free money,
yeah. I
and
forgot
it's
what the word is that I want to use though. The model is I forgot. It
Has
sucks
anyone
basically.
tried the Disney service? Do
No,
you
it's
know?
all the
Do you
same. They
know?
all start out the same.
Do you
but
know
I
if
have,
Disney has
yeah,
advertising? Because Disney's killing it right now, but Disney
really?
streaming
but
services.
Disney makes infinite money. They make
Oh
infinite
yeah, from
money,
their other
but it's
yeah.
because they're pulling it from everywhere. The Marvel
Yeah.
movies, the Star Wars stuff, like they have
Yeah.
all the merchandising that goes with that. Like they actually are a model. Like the two companies that are absolutely killing it right now is Disney and Amazon. And it's because they have a thing that makes them a ton of money so that they can go and buy everything else and then just like corner the market. And so those two companies have like a huge cash cow that they can just use to buy up their competitors in other markets or enter themselves into new markets. Um,
Yeah.
like, yeah, I think like everything from our childhood is all pretty much owned by Disney right now. Like, there's very few that isn't owned by them. Uh, like so they're doing, and that also helps them with the Disney Plus is that they have like the rights to all Marvel, Lucasfilms, uh, what's the other one I'm thinking of? Pixar, 20th Century Fox. Like they own all that. So Simpsons is like hanging out with Mickey. Uh, you know, I'll refrain from doing my Mickey voice. And so yeah, it's definitely it's a weird world where things are, I think, separating out, but also kind of consolidating in weird ways. It's kind of a it'll be interesting to see how that all that shakes out. Um, I think that yeah, it's definitely a time of change. It's definitely feels like there's big changes going on. I had a question for you guys since I have. Do you guys get the YouTube ads for about Bill C-11? Uh,
No.
okay, yeah, because I had to look it up because like YouTube was like, yeah, you should really not want to have this bill passed, and I'm instantly like, okay, why are you spending ad revenue to like telling me that I should be opposing this? So it's interesting. It's a CRTC law of like Canadian content that the
Oh
YouTube
yes.
algorithm has to display a certain amount of it, and so obviously Google doesn't like that because they want to show you what they want to show you. But it's interesting that this is coming out as well. That like, um, you know, I think that that's also going to be a big one is seeing how governments are interacting because like we've seen is like the California and the EU like enact certain privacy laws that they've had to make certain like all these new systems in place, and so it's been interesting to see how that gets implemented as well.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, I actually have to go.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I wasn't thinking we were going to be going quite this long today,
Uh,
but at the same time, it's kind of nice.
yeah. It was fun. It was freewheeling. I hope I didn't distract everyone with like weird meta narratives about stuff, but you know.
And we
Uh,
missed Pip on the live.
No
yeah,
kidding.
yeah. This is what.
Last one of the year too.
Yeah, well, this is what,
Yeah.
and that's why I get to talk about all the stuff. It's, you know, the. I,
This Pip's not here
yeah,
reeling us all in.
yeah, exactly,
It's
exactly.
true.
Um,
It's true.
okay, so I guess we will see you guys in the year. Oh, I will be posting that form for anyone that has suggestions. I haven't got to it yet. I forgot since the last time. But I'll post a Google form that if anyone has any topic suggestions they want us to cover. Um, yeah, I guess
Sounds good. So it's a great year, everyone, and I'm really looking forward to next year. I hope that you'll stick with us and help us grow and organize each other for when we need help and when we have questions. We are in the Cyberpunk's Cyberpunk Marketing Mixer Facebook group. If you're watching us elsewhere, that's where you can find us on the daily. And have a great holiday, and we'll see you first week of January, right? That would be January 5th, I think, right?
yes.
Yeah. All right. And there is no happy hour tomorrow because I'm on a holiday starting right now, which is why I need to go.
All right. Bye for now.
Bye, everyone.
Bye, everyone.